Okay, welcome to MBA 507, a little supplemental video this week. I have a subscription to Bloomberg Business Week to stay on top and abreast of things. And I'm going to read, this is from the January 23rd, 2023 issue. It's a weekly, and I always have three or four of these floating around the house. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. Good afternoon. May I help you? I apologize. That was Alan from Discover Card, but not really. I think it was a scam. Okay. Article here is biotech startups find cash is the best medicine. After years of abundant funding from venture capitalists and public investors, capital has lately become a scarce resource. For much of the past decade, venture capital firms and other investors were eager to throw money at biotech startups in the hopes of bankrolling the next billion-dollar medicine. Risk reward. I'm going to stop from every now and then and interject one of the five foundations of finance. And this is what I'm looking for in your term papers. And again, this is a short one article. Term paper should be a little bit longer. These days, fledgling drug makers spend as much time convincing investors that they have enough cash to survive as they do developing the promising treatments in their pipelines. How often are biotech executives questioned about cash? Quote, every single conversation, unquote, says Marcio Souza, Chief Executive Officer of Praxis Precision Medicines, Inc. Shares of the company, which aims to treat central nervous system disorders, have plummeted 80% over the past year. It might be time to buy them. The price is down. Of course, you could lose it too. Risk and reward. Investors today want to know how much money companies have, how long it will last, and exactly how they plan to use it, executives say. Cash flow is everything. Foundation principle number one. It's all around us in everyday life. We just have to identify it, just like Seinfeld did. The answers are especially important in 2023 as investors navigate a tough environment for risky investments. Again, risk reward, such as biotech stocks. And hundreds of companies seek to raise fresh funds to stay in business. Chapter 2, where they're trying to, various ways of raising capital. It's a stark turn of events for an industry that got used to big capital influxes before and during the pandemic. Venture capital firms, in fact, it just says VC firms here, but that's their abbreviation for venture capital, invested a record $36.6 billion in biopharma companies in the US, UK, and European Union in 2021, up 281% from 2017, according to Silicon Valley Bank. Private investment in 2022 dipped 19% from the year before to $29.5 billion. The slump speaks to growing investors' uncertainty about biotech's near-term prospects, cash flows, uncertainty, risk. All that money spawned hundreds of new biotech companies a year. At the peak, 357 were funded in 2021. That's almost one a day. Okay, up from 202 in 2017, according to Silicon Valley Bank analysis. Okay. Such exuberance spread to the stock market, where more than 100 biotechs went public in 2021 alone, one every 3 days, including companies that were selling investors on a dream rather than data. A swift, sharp reversal in the stock market essentially closed the window for initial public offerings last year and left upstarts searching for cash. More than 300 public companies will need to raise fresh funds within the next 18 months, according to investment bank Torreya Partners. The changing landscape is forcing companies to rethink their financing strategies or focus, says Jonathan Norris, a managing director in Silicon Valley Bank. in their healthcare practice. Just to go back to the last paragraph, including the companies that went public. My broker recommended a stock to me and a couple other people. We bought in. They were working on a treatment for kidney cancer, and it turned out to be a bust. It is now in litigation. What do they call that? When everybody joins together. I can't think of the phrase. Class action lawsuit. That's what it is. And I just got forms to fill out, and he said I might get some of my investment back. I did sell it at a loss. Like benefit. Don't like selling things at losses. You can keep your tax benefits. I rather make money and pay tax. I don't like to pay the tax, but if you're paying tax, you're making money on your investments. Yeah, and it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't. It was less than $10,000, I believe. But again, risk reward. There was a potential for a big payoff. I got burned. Okay, over at J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco, the industry's most important annual gathering, biotech executives would normally be talking up their most promising drugs. These are ones that are in the pipeline waiting for approval. But at the meeting earlier this month, they spent almost as much time detailing how much money they had as a way to assure investors they're a safe bet. Yes, cash is a very safe thing. Doesn't give you, but again, there's no risk, so the returns are going to be low. But again, do you want zero return or a little return versus a loss, the risk of losing your investment? Okay. Mirati Therapeutics Inc. CEO David Meek showed slides depicting his company's financial position, assuring attendees it had enough cash to fund itself for 2 years. Buying time. We're exactly disciplined. We are extremely disciplined in capital, and we understand how important it is to deploy our capital to the investments that have the highest return for patients and overall for the business. That's nice that he thinks of patients first. Of course, that's what drives the. If you have a good drug that cures people or treats people favorably, you're going to have a good market, and for that drug, and cash flows are going to go up. Stock price is going to go up. Win-win. Last year, he didn't say a word. He didn't say the word cash even once during his presentation, according to the transcript. Biotech companies are considering just about anything to stay afloat now that the sugar rush in valuations has ended. Valuations being the stock price being driven up by investors and speculators. According to Arda Earl, America's Industries market leader for health sciences and wellness at Ernst & Young. That's an accounting firm. Some are narrowing their focus, so only the experimental drugs with the highest likelihood of succeeding, laying off employees, and hunting for big pharma partners to help cover research and development costs. Very, very expensive to bring a new drug to market, to develop it, test it. You're talking years and years and years of work of people that are highly compensated. PhD level chemists and biologists, and I guess even some physics people in there. Ahead of its conference presentation, gene editing pioneer Editas Medicine Inc. said it would eliminate about 20% of its staff and focus its attention on blood disorders instead of eye diseases. Okay, the company expects layoffs to stretch its cash into 2025. Biotech companies that not long ago would have scoffed at giving up some control over their ideas are coming to the table seeking help from pharmaceutical giants, says Marianne DeBacker, who leads business development and licensing for Bayer AG Pharmaceuticals division. Bayer's team met with about 300 companies during the conference, which it says is more than usual. It has entirely changed, DeBacker says. Bridge Biopharma Inc. was among those courting partners at the J.P. Morgan meeting. J.P. Morgan being a big investment bank. The biotech has been slashing expenses and selling drugs or taking partners for therapeutics to raise money after its experimental therapies after one of its experimental therapies for a potentially fatal heart condition failed a late-stage clinical trial. So they probably spend millions or tens of $1 millions developing this thing, and right before it's ready to be approved by the FDA, it fails a clinical trial. All that money, not wasted, but no return on it. I say not wasted because they learned what doesn't work. Maybe they can correct it. Maybe they have to change something, and maybe it will come through on another clinical trial. Quote, when equity markets are tough, and I think we're going to see pretty tough conditions this year, says BridgeBio CEO Neil Kumar, pharma partnering starts to become a really interesting way to extend a lot of great work we're trying to do. Again, these people are trying to extend and improve life for all of us on planet Earth. David Epstein, the new CEO of the cancer drug company Seagen Inc., plans to use the cash crunch of smaller companies to his advantage. Huh? He's going to be buying them up and partnering at bargain prices. Before joining Seagen, Epstein worked at a venture capital firm, Flagship Pioneering Inc., and he knows firsthand how dire the situation is for young companies, which could help larger, deep-pocketed ones like Seagen persuade them to strike deals to work together on unfinished drugs in their pipelines. Yes, you have these smaller companies doing the development work that is very expensive, and then you come in right at the last stage when they're struggling, pump some money into them to get it through the final development and approval stages. And it's a good strategy. Billions of dollars have been deployed over the last 5 years, Epstein says. The vast majority of those companies cannot find additional funding, but they actually spent the money and developed stuff. We're just well positioned to be the right company to run the additional clinical trials and launch. They're coming in to save the company, and they need a return for that. But and again, they're taking advantage of the market dynamics. Things are down. When do you get fire sale prices? When there's been a fire. When times are good, you don't get big discounts. Yeah, the last sentence here, and then the conclusion. But many drug giants are reevaluating what they're willing to pay for deals in the light of a new U.S. law aimed at curbing drug prices, which could hurt revenues, cash flows. The cash flows are what matter. The legislation subjects some prices to negotiation after 9 years for pills and 13 years for biologics, capping profits earlier than expected. That's creating an entirely new environment for the industry to confront, Ernst & Young's Earl says. This is a different playbook. Yeah, things have changed. Environment has changed. Conclusion, bottom line, venture capital is investing in biotechs fell 19% last year. That and jittery markets sent startups on a quest for cash amid a new willingness to partner with deep-pocketed drug giants. All right, so it's pretty interesting there. Next one is kind of nice, but I don't want to read it. Tech cuts back. Long known as lucrative and comfortable place to work, Silicon Valley is shutting jobs at a rapid clip. Okay. Again, finance, very important. Even if you don't work for that company or are not invested in that company, if you're a patient or a potential patient 5-10 years down the road, somebody not getting finance or adequate financing can prevent that drug from being developed and brought to market to save you or your loved ones or your next door neighbor or somebody halfway around the world that you don't even know. Finance impacts us all. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that little 14, 15-minute diatribe.